Alright. Let's go. Part 8. Right? 8. Part 8 of my MMX 100% speedrun tutorial covering Launch Octopus, the 7th of our 8 mavs. Kind of a lot going on here, so bear with me. Right out of the gate, you got a decision to make. There's two strats. There's the turtle kill and the turtle hop. The turtle hop is pretty free. Costs about 8 frames though, versus the turtle kill, is what I was told. So, in order to achieve this turtle hop, you can either kill this guy or just jump over him, this very first guy. And you just want to land real close to the turtle, but you gotta let go right and jump straight up. And then go over the top. And you gotta land pretty close to him. And I usually kill both of these, whatever these guys are, these water bugs, on my way through for a little bit of lag reduction. But that's up to you. You don't need to kill either of them, I don't think. You can just dash under that one. Let's see how a little bit of lag there. The other option is to start while holding a charge and dash upon entry, release it, and fire a lemon with it. And then two more lemons behind it, and swap to ice and finish him with ice. And that's the turtle kill. So, at full speed. It's a little tighter, but a little faster as well. Oh yeah, I guess there's tornado strats as well. You can jump over this turtle. There's also tornado strats, I didn't even think about that. You can just maybe... Oh, maybe you can even put it a little higher, so that it gets this, this second turtle. Yeah, you can do that. That's pretty good. Nice beginner strat. But eventually you're going to want to upgrade, because obviously you've got to wait for these tornadoes to do their thing. So, the two faster strats are going to be the hop and the kill. The kill being the hardest and the fastest. The hop is pretty free. I wouldn't recommend the turtle strats unless you're really not comfortable with the hop. I'd just go for the hop. That's what I do in my runs. I've considered swapping to the turtle kill more recently though. As far as hopping over this guy goes, you don't have to let go of right for this one. You can just land right on the edge and jump over the top of him. Never let go. And then and from here we got a couple more decisions to make. There's the lobstrosity leap, my personal favorite, where you just jump straight over the top. It's a little tight, but I think the worst case scenario is that you just come up short, hit this guy, and away you go. You're never really gonna die on these spikes. You don't have to worry about that. But in order to get the lobstrosity leap, you gotta jump from the very edge of this platform here. This is what I do. And I'll shoot this guy on the way down. Let's go back, now that I'm full again. No, back even further. Respawn these guys. The other option is to just dash off and kill both of these guys on the way through. If you just dash off the edge here, you can shoot him and him. These are dash lemons, by the way. Regular lemons will take 2 to kill, so make sure these are dash lemons. I prefer the leap, but it's not really any faster. Maybe slightly faster than this strat, which is much easier. I did that for a long time. After that, you got a couple more options. If you jump from the very top here, the very edge of this top platform, you'll make it all the way down without clipping any of these ledges, and the seahorses will have a pretty free pattern that you don't have to worry about. The other option is to come down here and jump from this one. I was told that upon entering the water here, you get a couple lag frames. You might notice a little stutter there. So I've converted to jumping down here and leaping from this edge. And now this is a little tighter because these seahorses, these ones, can be a problem. They're easily avoided if you're quick, but if you're not quick, they're going to come up and bop you on your way through. So a way to prevent that, because you're going to need to be on rolling shield anyways, is to just drop a rolling shield in their hole as they're coming out. And you won't have to worry about them. But you don't need to do that either. If you're fast, they aren't going to get you. That's also a technique. I think Fatso does it this way. Normally I do like a short hop and land here, and then leap from this position straight to here, and then up onto this ledge. But Fatso, I think, does full jumps. Full jump here, dash down this slope and another full jump to get all the way up here. It probably saves a dash and a jump input. But I don't do it that way. It seems a little risky, even though I just did it. It's pretty free, honestly. It's kind of scary. But for me, it was always this strat. Where you land here and do another jump to right here. And right here we've got our first sub coming up. What you want to do is you want to jump. And when you're spawning him, you want to make sure you get all the way over to the left. And what I would do for timing was from here, I would jump from the very edge and I'd do a full height jump. And then move to the left and shoot when I land. Because you can't hurt the sub until he's all the way out of the ground. Now the sub is going to take, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I believe it's 8. Yeah, 8 rolling shields to take him out. And he's got fairly short iframes, but he does have iframes, so you can't just mash him. Ideally, you get him killed before the worm boys escape, but because they cause a bunch of lag while he's exploding. Let's see. From here, okay, let's start over. From this jump, we go full height and then we go left, and that's to manipulate his pattern into shooting these, because that's what you want. He's got a couple patterns he can do. He can shoot the worm boys out, or he can suck. If you're all the way left. There's a very high chance that he does the worm boys, but there's also a small chance that he does the suck maneuver, which for me is a problem. I always lose time trying to not get sucked in and take a bunch of damage. But being on the left sort of helps manipulate his pattern. He's got one more pattern he can do. He can do the searchlight, which is super laggy, but he's only going to do that if you're close to him. So, by staying on the left side at the start of the fight, most of the time he's going to let out the worm boys, and sometimes he'll do a suck maneuver, which sucks. This is super laggy. This is the searchlight. We don't want that. So, I do a full height jump, go all the way left, and when I land, I shoot. And the first one will hit him with pretty good timing. And then, as that one's traveling across, I dash towards him, maybe right after it hits, and shoot another one on the way over. And then right in his face, you want to count shots. 6 shots to take him out. 6 more after the first 2. And you want to make sure that you count your shots, because you don't want to shoot an extra rolling shield. For 1, it causes extra lag, and for 2, you won't be able to swap off of rolling shield to collect all those drops, which also cause lag during the explosion. So, ideally, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was bad. 1, 2. And then you swap off of rolling shield. You don't want to collect ammo with rolling shield equipped because of that refill. animations. So what you want to do is you want to kill him, swap off of rolling shield, back to Buster, and collect everything. Not after the explosion, just the stuff that the worm boys drop. And then you want to get to the right edge of the screen and stand there. You don't want to be walking or building a charge or anything during that explosion. You want to dash to the edge of the screen. I don't know what to do about this sucking. I'm bad at it. You know, dash to the edge of the screen and then stand there, because walking and charging will add to the lag from his explosion. So you want to just get to the edge of the screen and stand there. That's the strat that I would do normally if the sub is sucking. Is I'll get 4 shots in, the first 2 and then 2 turnaround shots, trying not to get sucked in, and then just take the bonk and finish him off with 4 more. That's what I was doing when I was still doing this route. But there are better ways. I'd check like Louise or somebody like that. If you want a better strat for the suck pattern, but it's not terribly common. So stand here, and then as soon as the screen lock lifts, you want to be on the right hand side, and you want to start coming this way. I guess you've got a couple different options here. You could probably do some tornado stuff on these fish if you wanted to be slow and safe. But the optimal strat is going to be to shoot the fish gap. Like so. Ideally you don't land on top of here either. So, again, just do a dash jump from this ledge. You want to land up here, and then you can dash jump underneath these fish. And then you want to shoot the fish gap. There's no real good cue, I don't think, for this fish gap. You kind of just want to get close to the top fish without running into him. That's the ideal. Way to get through here. But what I do when I'm going through the fish gap, if I'm concerned at all that I'm going to land here, I just hit dash as I would land there so that I can get a dash off the edge. Because if you don't, that's what happens. If you catch it quick enough, you can get back to the wall and do a dash kick like this to get over. But just press dash. The worst thing is you don't land on the ledge, and you don't need the dash. It doesn't do anything. But if you are going to land on the ledge, you want to dash off the edge of it, because you don't want to have to do that. That's slow. Here also, as a setup for the next submarine, you want to have spark equipped. And what I would do is I shoot my spark into this top fish or near him to start my charge, and it'll be ready in time for this second submarine. You can start charging earlier, but with all these fish and their little sucky suck animations, it gets a little laggy through here. So to alleviate some of that, you can start charging it a little later. Ideally you hit that fish, because the spark itself also generates lag. So you just hit the fish with it, and then come over here. Let's see, for the second sub, you don't want to use rolling shield again, because you're going to need your rolling shields for launch Octopus himself. So you want to have your spark charged up, ready to go, and then you want to get right in his face. You want to land on this edge. And once he's up, release your full charge. That way it takes out his light and deals some damage to him as well. And then you want to pump in some sparks. Now here you have the option. You can either just mash, or you can count shots. And it's 10 sparks after the charge spark to finish him off. Mashing's perfectly fine. The only problem is that you're probably going to end up with some extra sparks for some extra lag while he's exploding, which is not a huge deal, but ideally you don't want those. So you also don't need to stay right in his face. Like, you want to get in his face to start the fight, because that's going to ensure that he blows. As long as his light's gone, which is what the charge spark is for. He's always going to blow, every time. And you can let him push you back onto the second ledge. And then mash from here. I like to stay right in his face and count shots. But you can't just hold right, because then you'll just run into him. So you gotta sort of on, off. On, off, on, off, on your right press. And then the same deal. You want to get all the way to the right while he's exploding. And then just stand there. And wait for the screen lock to lift. Because, again, walking or charging or anything while he's exploding is going to generate more lag than you have to. So, avoid that if you can. Okay, from here, what I would do is, as soon as the screen lock's going to lift, you want to be dashing. And then I fire a spark to start a charge. I mean, it could be anything. You could fire anything. But you got to swap to Tornado. You want to charge Tornado for this upcoming ship here. This guy. So, I'll shoot a spark and then it's just one swap left to Tornado. I like to jump onto this platform and then up to this one, and then I jump right until X's head touches the top of the water. That's my visual cue for when to let go of jump here. And that'll put you right where you want to be, right here. Because you got to jump off of this and release a tornado that takes out the ship. And if your timing's off a little bit here, you might get caught in some of these. So you got to make sure you do this consistently. And then these missiles are random. Your target for this charge tornado is actually on the top of the submarine. Or it's a ship. Whale-looking ship thing. This blue... This guy. That's your target. Right here. So, in order to hit that, you kind of want to release it. I mean, how far away can we hit it from? Let's just take a look. We do not need fire wave. So that got it. That's pretty far. So, I guess the blue dot is a pretty good place to look. Because you can see that from the underside, right? This blue dot above my head. Either that or just to the right of that is where you want to release your charged tornado from underneath. Now these missiles are random. You're going to have to either try to go under them or above them. Avoid them in some fashion. See, it's not always possible to avoid them either. Sometimes you're just going to have to take the hit. See there? Okay. That's something you want to watch out for too. You don't want to try to release your tornado as you're taking a hit, because you'll lose your charge. And it won't, and now you're screwed, kinda. I mean, the next best option for you now is to just, because this thing will be going, you can ride it right up to the top and then just pop one here from here. And it'll take him out. One thing you can sort of look at, because the ship sort of oscillates up and down. If you have to release your tornado kind of low because of the missiles, You can intentionally take a hit after you've released your tornado to sort of keep yourself in a place where the hitbox of this thing is still active. You want to maintain a certain height, so by taking the damage from one of these missiles, it can actually sort of hold you up a little bit in the air rather than falling down. And that can give you just a little extra bit that you need to take down this ship with the tornado if you had released it sort of late in your jump because you had to avoid some missiles. Like that one. See, that one didn't finish him off. If I had taken a bonk on one of those missiles, though, before it fell all the way, he would have died. So that's just something to look out for. Because I had to avoid that early missile. It costed me some height on my jump. And, I lost my train of thought. Whatever. You get the idea. We gotta take this guy out. An easy way to just, if you're not interested in the underneath kill, you can just sort of wait for this thing to come up, and you can take him out from the top. It's gonna be much slower, but it's pretty safe. You don't even really need a charged tornado. You can just come up here with like a regular tornado and take him out that way. Just get the heck out of there. But one thing you want to make sure you do after you kill this ship, whether it be from the top or underneath, you want to make sure you get to the right and take it off screen because it's despawning. I mean, it's causing a bunch of lag, and you can avoid some of that by taking him off screen. So what I'll do is I'll take him out, and if I'd taken a bonk, I'll jump into this thing and do one jump, and then you want to fall down here. You want to be able to shoot the gap here alongside the ship on the way down, and you want to be as close as you can to like touching the ground here, right before. You don't want to touch the ground, but you want to be close to the ground when it breaks to save time that way. You want to fall quickly, right? So you want to be falling as soon as it's available to fall. So you want to be close. So I will use sort of varied height jumps depending on how I feel. It's sort of just a feel thing. But gets the job done. And then as far as like finding the gap between the ship and the wall here, like this sweet spot, because you can beat the ship to the bottom. What I do is after I do my little hop in this thing, I look at X's outstretched arm again. This time it's pointed to the right, and I line it up just outside this capsule in the background full of whatever that is. That blood? I don't know. Sand? Something like that. If you're overlapping by a pixel, you're gonna land up top here. And if you're too far to the left, you're gonna land on the ship. So I try to get it either perfectly aligned like that, or just like a couple pixels space between his arm and that capsule in the background. And that's the cue I use. It's Octo Juice. Okay, Octo Juice. Sure. So ideally, let's see if I can get a good one. It'll look something like this. Nope. So I got hit, so I'll do one big jump here, and then try to line it up so that I shoot this gap. Okay, after we take out this stupid ship for these stupid missiles, see, I went too far left, so now I'm on the ship, which is dumb, but it's gonna happen from time to time. It's not a big deal, but it's a deal. It's an unnecessary time loss that can be avoided. Okay, as we're falling here alongside this ship, we're gonna need to start another charge. I usually use Spark I'll just shoot it off screen because again we're going to be swapping to tornado. You can just shoot a tornado or whatever. You can do anything. You need to start a charge though. I sort of look at that diagonal dotted line and a little ways about X's height above it, I guess, is when I start charging, but you can start charging earlier. There's potential to like freeze the game here. I've frozen it multiple times with the charge and the tornado on screen and the ship crashing. Sometimes it's just too much for the game to handle, and it'll crash like right here as you're jumping through. But I haven't had that problem since I started using a spark and charging later. So this is sort of the cue I use, somewhere like that. Now for killing this Octopus, there's two options. You can do this strat, which is pretty good. It's kind of tight though. You got to jump from the very edge of this platform, and you skip 2, and you'll land. Whoops. You'll land on this one, and then you can get him on the way up to the wall. And that's going to be the faster strat, but the easiest strat is going to be to just jump to this middle one, land on it. Wait, how do you do this again? You jump to the middle, you pop it over his head, land on his back, and then jump up to the wall. And again, you want to take this guy off screen to reduce a bunch of lag as he's dying. That's why we climb the wall here. To get him off screen for as long as possible. But at the same time, you want to be over here as the screen lock lifts, because you don't want to waste any time moving to the right to get this heart. And the way you can sort of time that is by varying your kick heights. I do a dash kick for the second one so that when the screen does lift, you're already moving to the right at dash speed. Ideally, the screen lock lifts while you're still in the air. But not so high that you like clip this wall. That one was pretty good. I sort of came directly under the corner. Again, the easy way is going to be to pop it on the way over and then use his back to get up to the wall. And the faster way is going to be to do this long jump and get him on the way up to the wall with one jump from the ground. Let's see, one more thing you can sort of do to help align yourself is this triangle on this post here. I've seen a lot of people do it, and I used to do it, is I'd go to this triangle, and then as like X's head passes to the bottom of it, that's when you can press right, and you'll have a pretty good angle at just getting under this corner at good dash speed. The problem being, you go way over here, and if your timing's off, the screen lock will lift, and you're nowhere near the edge of the screen, which is another unnecessary time loss. So I gave that up for just staying close here, trying to time my jumps right, so that I'm always right here when the screen lock lifts. Now, after you kill this guy, and you're doing your whatever you're doing here, you want to swap to boomerang, dash over here and shoot this hard. You don't have to shoot it, obviously, you could just dash in here and get it, but I look at like this, whatever this red thing is in the background, somewhere around there is when I shoot my boomerang, and then take off the other way, and the heart will get back to you. And you want to do a couple hops and get over to this, back to the exit. So, one more time at full speed. Tornado. Swap to boomerang. Holding right. Fire the boomerang and run. And you want to start charging again from this boomerang, because you're going to need another charged tornado. Now, after we've got the heart, you should collect the heart somewhere around here. Maybe even after you've escaped. If the ship is here, it can be despawned if you're really quick. You can get yourself a platform, jump off the ship. Not huge deal, but I like to do it. Any little time save I like to go for the most part. So, little platform jump, and then a few kicks out the wall. Now, the stuff we talked about with climbing previously has changed a little bit because you're underwater, and your jump height is much higher. So the timing's a little different. That's just something you're going to have to get used to. You want to maintain your upward velocity while also minimizing the number of kicks, because every kick loses like 4 frames or something. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what I usually do. And that doesn't count the platform jump off this ship. The last one, of course, being a dash kick. Clear this corner. Swap back to boomerang as you're doing some of this. Somewhere along the line here you need to swap back to boomerang. Or off of boomerang to tornado, because we need to charge tornado. With right timing, this thing won't be active, so you can just jump straight over it. Put a couple dashes together. I like to jump right off the top of this mound, and you'll clear this post, this pillar. So that's the cue I use, just off the top of the mound, and you'll get over the top of it. Now for this tornado, there's another Octopus here, right? We need to take him out. And ideally we take him out before he comes out from under the ground, so that we never have to see his explosion, and there's no butt ton of lags like there is right now. This is really bad. Let's see how laggy everything is. So, in order to do that, we can hit him while he's underground and take him out. He's already dead. No lag, no problem. So the cue I use for this is I'm looking at this sharp edge of this broken capsule here. The one right under his toe. And that's just what I'm looking at too. I'm looking at his toe, and when his toe and that point meet, that's when I release my tornado. Now, you can't just let it go and drop straight down, because you're not going to spawn him. So what you need to do is you look at this point, release, and then press right and spawn him, and he'll get taken out very quickly. It's pretty easy when you use this cue. Just make sure that you press right as soon as you release your tornado. I'll be there Saturday evening, Dom. I think I land around 5 or something. Pretty easy kill here. And we just want to get over to the right here. Again, holding a charge. And these fish are pretty easy to avoid. I just released this tornado and repressed Y right away. Do one wall kick. And you can just sort of chain some dashes under these fish if you want. I like to do one short hop in between them, but that's kind of risky. Dash kick here, just holding it the whole time. As soon as the screen lifts, away you go. And you can just dash underneath these last fish. Okay, here we are. Octopus. This boss corridor is a little different than the other ones. Normally I would do a double tap dash and then chain a dash after the double tap, but since we're underwater and it's a little taller, you can actually make it with one dash and one jump, and that's what I do. I've been told that this might not be the best way to do it, but it's the way I do it right now. So, and you want to swap to your rolling shield. Now, as far as launch Octopus goes, there's a couple different trains of thought. He's got some options. He does this swirly move, which is the bad pattern. We don't want to see those ever, but you're going to see a lot of them, and they're going to make you mad. Because he's invulnerable during these. You can't hurt him. There's a couple ways to deal with them. One being, you open with the charge rolling shield, and you fight him normally. And then if he does do another one, you use that time to build another rolling shield, which will save you a shot, right? Because if you're using just rolling shields, they're doing 3 damage apiece. And now he's got 4, see? So 1 charged rolling shield should finish him from here. But if you're doing regular rolling shields, he'll have 1 HP. So you can use a second charged rolling shield. If he does a swirly, that's a safe bet. It's the way I used to do it every time. I've abandoned it for a safer, more risky... Not a safer, faster, more risky strat. But this is a pretty safe strategy. 1 rolling shield, 1 charged one to start the fight, and then if he does a swirly, you can use that swirly time where you can't hurt him to build another charge. Of course, oh, there he is. One serious problem with this, though, is that if you kill him with it, the shield stays, and it's really laggy during the explosion. So you might want to avoid that if you can. The Octo Fight is a pretty challenging fight. Of course he does it with 4 HP left, but let's see. Normally it would take 2 hits to kill him there. The other option, I guess there's 2 more options. The other option is to get in here and mash your way out. And ideally you get out, because it's an energy drain attack. It takes your health and gives it to Octopus. So ideally you get out in one life drained. And with that strategy, the charged rolling shield is fairly important because just the way that his health runs out. If you start the chart with the charged rolling shield and he does no swirlies and you just continue to fight him with regular rolling shields, he's going to end up with 1 health at the end. So giving him 1 health like that is not a big deal because it doesn't add any hits. Even giving him 2 health, like a second swirly, it's still going to be the same number of hits to finish him off because he'll only be at 3 at the end. So, and that's if you start with a charged rolling shield because it does 4. It gives, you can give up 2 health to him total throughout the fight and not add any extra hits. This is the big risk of jumping in and trying to mash out. You can actually underflow the counter that tells him to release and he'll infinite combo your ass and you're done. It's pretty rare, but it does happen. And when it happens on pace, it's the worst thing ever. The other option is to eliminate swirlies entirely. I didn't get partner. Go. Affiliates have sub now. Let's see. Oh yeah, the other option. The other option is to start with boomerangs. And you can use 3 boomerangs and cut off his tentacles, and now he's got no options left. All he can do is shoot his missiles and jump around. He can't do the energy drain anymore. He can't send fishies after you. So after this, the fight is pretty straightforward. As long as you can recognize his patterns when he's jumping, when he's shooting. It's a pretty easy fight. It's a kind of a... I don't know. It's a very safe strat, but it's going to lose time because his boomerangs only do 1 damage. It's going to lose time over the optimal fight, but it's going to eliminate the chances of him doing any energy drains or anything like that. So the rest of the fight should be pretty quick. So your 3 options when fighting this guy. Charged rolling shield, another one when he does swirlies. You can jump into a swirly, risk getting the infinite combo to save some time that way, cutting his energy drain short. or you can open the fight with boomerangs to eliminate the chance of energy drains. The big problem with opening with boomerangs, though, is that even, like, he can still do a swirly before you can get your third energy drain off, or your third boomerang. Also, you don't want to, if you're gonna do boomerangs, don't come in here with a charge, because you don't need the charged boomerang strat. Just regular boomerangs. So if you're doing boomerangs, no charge. But it's really dumb when you come in here trying to cut off his arms and he gives you a stupid swirly anyways. But it's kind of rare. Some other ideas about fighting this guy. In 100%, you've got a lot of health. And well, I guess you don't have the armor yet. That's fire. So you've got a bunch of health that you can sort of throw at him to make it easier to hit him with your rolling shields. Because these missiles and these fish will deflect your rolling shield and make it sort of difficult to hit him. You just have to get used to his timing. Ideally, you're dropping shots over whatever he's throwing at you and hitting him that way. But another option is to sort of just take damage and just get in his face. You don't want to get too crazy with taking damage though, because you can die. Especially if you're taking body hits from Octo, because that does a lot more damage than his missiles. It's a pretty challenging fight, and there's a lot of sort of reacting you have to do. Depending on what Octo's doing. If he's being a total fuckboy, or if he's just being friendly, standing there and letting you destroy him. But you have to be, I don't know. I don't know how to guide you on doing this fight. I think you're just gonna have to practice it for the most part. All I can do is give you the principles. Like, you're just gonna have to get used to the different patterns that he can give you and how to react to them. But as a general sort of guideline, you want to drop shots over his missiles like this, or if he's jumping and shooting missiles at you, you can sort of hit him in the bottom underneath his missiles, or let him sort of try to land on it. You can get in his face and just sort of spam rolling shields, so that the first one, you know, maybe blocked by the missile, but the second one gets through. There's lots of ideas here, but none of them are perfect, and none of them are... They all have their uses in different scenarios. The fish can be sort of annoying, but what you can do is you can sort of do-si-do the fish around. I know it's kind of a goofy way of putting it, but you can, like, if he's shooting a bunch of fish at you, let's see if we can get him to do it. You can sort of do this, and sort of get them. I'm not very good at it. It's more of like a any percent strat, really, because you don't have nearly as much health to give away in this fight. In 100%, you've got all this health, so you can sort of, you know, take some damage and use that, your iframes from said damage, to just be in his face. I mean, ideally you don't want to take damage if you don't have to, but in some scenarios, see, this is the do-si-do I was talking about. In some scenarios, it's good to just take damage so that you can be close to Octo and hit him without fear. You don't want to miss either, because these rolling shields will bounce across the screen. It takes a while. But this fight is just going to take some practice. It's a tough fight to do quickly, no matter what. You're never going to get perfect fights on Octo. even the best players in the world are gonna have Octo off of iframes sometimes. Ideally, you know, you want to flash them like all the time, but with Octopus and all these projectiles blocking your shots, it's just not really that feasible. Obviously, you want to minimize the time he's not on iframes, but there are gonna be times where you get a shot blocked. He does an energy drain at the wrong time, or you know, stuff happens. So just practice the piss out of this fight. It's not an easy one. And in order, I don't know if I mentioned, but in order to get out of these energy drains, you just need to mash. I sort of just, I put my thumb on the D-pad and my thumb on the jump and shoot buttons, and I just go crazy, just shake the controller around. I don't know, it's not an easy thing for me. I just started getting grabbed by the energy drains. Before, I would always do the charged rolling shield strat. That was pretty good, Octo. He just he just stood there and let me beat him up. Lone fish blocked that. And as always, you want to try to finish in the middle of the stage if you can, to minimize the walk after the fanfare or before the fanfare. I don't know. I don't think I have anything else to say about this Octopus fight. It's just a tough fight that's going to take a lot of practice. So, I guess that's it for today's episode. See what I mean? You can just take a ton of damage. But that's it for Launch Octopus. Again, any questions or comments or whatever, just let me know. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. And if there's a bunch that I left out, maybe I'll do an addendum after the whole thing's done. But up next, we've got Sting Chameleon. Pretty straightforward stage. Nothing too fancy going on here. Kind of a free stage. So we'll get that done within the next day or so, hopefully, before I leave. Oh my god. So until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you then. Peace.